I went to boot camp in the dead of winter, and I was there through every single holiday, including Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. I'll tell you everything about it in this video. Stay tuned. What is up, guys? You're tuning in to Nikki MGTV for another military video for all your military video needs. As always, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below if you have questions. But as always, let's roll right to the topic, and that is, what happens if you're going to boot camp during the holidays? I don't know if you guys have watched me long enough to realize how bad of an idea I had to choose to go to boot camp November 4th in 2008. Not really understanding what all that entailed, but I'm kind of glad. But I'm here to give you guys the tips and tricks and what to expect if you guys end up going there, especially during this time. Chose November 4th, and I was like, okay, it's the soonest date to go. I just want to go to boot camp as fast as possible. And it wasn't until like a month or so later that I realized, hey, I'm actually going to be there during the holidays. I have no idea what's going to happen, and this is the time on YouTube and everything. No videos like this existed, so I had no idea what to expect. We got there November 4th, and actually, many of you don't think about this, but actually Veterans Day is during November as well. Realistically, having all these holidays during boot camp is probably the worst case scenario, and that's because it delays how long you're at boot camp. This is because these are holidays, non-training days. They're federal holidays where you're going to usually end up practicing drill or doing something, and your RDCs are probably mad that they're even there. Again, this is for Navy boot camp, not for everyone, but this is my own experience. I'm sure there's similar adaptations for other services, so it might give you some insight on that. Go through, and it was like the first week or two, and I was like, man, we already have a day off for Veterans Day? Like, I just want to get this thing started and kicked off. So that delayed us. Next was Thanksgiving. The benefit of having these holidays, I don't know if it was just because our RDC was super nice, but we were already about, I'd say, close to halfway done with boot camp, where we earned a phone call for Thanksgiving, so that was nice. But we did get like turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy and all that good stuff on Thanksgiving. It wasn't like a total just miserable time. Typically during these days, you're gonna have holiday routine where you're gonna have a big block of the morning set aside pretty much to do whatever you want to do in regards to shine your boots, write letters, take showers, go to the chapel, whatever else if they have service. One is Christmas that most people don't consider, and it's kind of a weird situation because I went through the entire thing where we were not considered a push division in regards to getting us through before Christmas, because there was a possibility to have our battle stations, I believe, on the 23rd, which is the final evolution, and like graduate the very next day and get pumped out. However, there was talk about our RDCs really were not trying to do that because we had one guy that was on leave for a little bit, and then we had only 2 RDCs, so I think it was going to be super burdensome for them, so they just kind of did the longer version. Anyway, what ended up happening was, if you were part of the push division, because there were people that left maybe within like the week or so when I did, they were pushed. They graduated, I think, the Christmas Eve or maybe the day before, and then they were able to go home on leave for 2 weeks because their A school had mass exodus is what they called it. By the way, in my A school, I'm a corpsman, so it was in Great Lakes at this time. Can't say how it's going to be if your duty station or your A school that you're going to next after boot camp is going to be somewhere else. I don't know exactly how that's going to work for you. These people were actually able to go back home for 2 weeks. The issue with this is you've only been in the military for about 2 months. So at this point, you've earned 2.5 days each month, giving you 5 days total. You take 14 days to go back home. You're going to end up with a total of 9 days that you are in the negative already, like starting out your military career. You can do that, or you can end up going to your A school, which most people that were there in A school for corpsmen back in Great Lakes was they did like a port and starboard or 1 day on, 1 day off of duty. So you were standing like 8 hours plus of duty per day because there weren't enough people, and it was a way to keep the A school students kind of busy, or they would make you guys clean. Now this is something that most people hated, and I think some people wish they'd went home, but saving leave is important to me, but I'm gonna kind of explain more of that as we go further on because this does really matter. Now, if you do choose to go during that time period, you have to realize those 9 days are in the negative. You're gonna go to an A school, and then you're also probably gonna get another authorized time of leave between your A school and when you're going to your first duty station. You have to imagine you have no idea where your first duty station is at, so you're throwing up a toss-up of if you're going overseas and you're willing to try and take that time where traveling back home will be a little bit cheaper than, say, traveling from Japan, Guam, Spain, something like that. At the same token, yes, it will be cheaper. You have to understand when you're at your first command, say you did take those 14 days for Christmas and then you did take the 14 days in between your A school and your first command. You had 9 days from the first time, then you had the 14 days from after. Depending on how long your A school is, you may have earned a couple days here or there, but you're gonna be in the hole quite a bit before you're gonna be able to even reach a 0 straight flat balance. The problem that you're gonna face is, one, if you have a real emergency, you're not gonna have enough leave to actually leave and go do something. So say a family member passes away or something like that, you may possibly, depending on your command, have issues of them approving you actually leaving because you are in the hole. Obviously, having a couple days on the books is preferable. I personally always try and keep my limit of 60. That's just how I like to have it. But I know some of you guys want to take more leave. But I would say at least having 5 to maybe 10 days on the books for emergencies is honestly the best policy. Now, if you are not part of the push division and somehow you kind of linger on like I did until the very first week of January, this is, in my opinion, not preferable, but I'll tell you how we got to spend the holidays. Thanksgiving, I told you that was a good dinner, but for Christmas, we were already done with the battle stations and all that. So it benefited us because they let us go to surrounding family members and things like that. And I think there was like little churches around that we were allowed to wear our dress blues and go out and hang out. And actually, we went with my buddy Nate Taller out to his family's house in Chicago, and his family all surprised them and everything. But it was just awesome. I was able to go with them and make phone calls, get on the internet, get on MySpace back in the day. That shows you how dated it was when I went through boot camp, and eat some really, really good food. And honestly, it was amazing because at this point, I was already known that I was a sailor because I had already graduated in regards to getting my ball cap and things like that, but we just didn't go through the boot camp graduation yet. Going to A school like the first week of January, just walked over. I didn't get any leave, but I got that weekend to hang out with my family. After A school and in between that and C school, I got 14 days. And then I got another, I think, month offered between my C school and when I was going to my first command. So these are just some things that you guys probably should consider if you're going to go during the holidays or Christmas. I do understand that many of you guys are going to be homesick or you're going to miss your family, but I honestly think jumping right into it and you're kind of in the suck with everybody, it doesn't feel as bad, and you'll realize that the more years that you have in the military and you miss events with family. Okay to talk about it and miss it, but I just want you guys to be prepared for those moments, because trust me, it was the first holiday I'd ever been away from my family. It felt like I just skipped the best part of the year almost. But I don't think that your goals of getting to become a sailor and stuff like that, I think maybe becoming a sailor will be one of the best presents you've ever had, or gifts. I know that sounds cheesy, but looking back, I don't think I've ever felt so proud of myself for what I achieved during boot camp, and that was just an awesome moment. But as always, guys, if you guys have questions about the military, about the holidays, or whatever's coming up, let me know down in the comments below. But you can also reach me for questions at Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. As always, I love you guys. I'll see you next time.
I know I asked for this myself. I'm bound by